Hi, welcome to Ammosmith.com. Today we're going to do another cartridge conversion. We're going to take a 223 Remington and we're going to reform it into a 222 Remington. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need your press. You're going to need your 222 Remington dies. You need some good lubricant, either RCBS Case Lube 2 or Imperial Sizing Wax. You're going to need your brass. You want to have at least a 222 Remington so you get some dimensions off of it in your shell holder. Now, the 222 Remington uses the exact same shell holder as the 223 or the 17 Remington and a number of other cases. Now, the one thing you do have to do in order to accomplish this operation, and these are Pacific dies, so they're a little different than what you're used to seeing here. You want to take your expander ball out. If you're using Lee dies, go ahead and take your expander ball out because this will complicate things and may end up giving you a stuck case, which you don't want. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to use both lubricants, and I'm going to purposely destroy a couple cases to show you what to look for. So let's get started. Okay, just for comparisons, show what we're going to be doing. Right here I have a standard 223 Remington case. Now here is the 223 Remington case that I have already reformed to the 222 body dimensions, but we haven't trimmed it yet. And here is a factory 222 Remington. Now one of the things we need to do in order to avoid destroying cases is watch how much lubricant we use, and we have to do this in steps. So once I get these dies set into the press, I'll show you how the step process works. Now there's one thing you have to understand when you're reforming cases on cartridge conversions. One is you have to determine whether you're necking it up or if you're necking it down. If it's staying the same bullet diameter, that's another issue too. So if you're necking a case up, you want to anneal the brass. If you're necking it down, you do not want to anneal the brass because that'll most likely cause the shoulders to collapse. If you're staying in the same caliber and just pushing the shoulder back, you can anneal it or you don't have to anneal it. I am not going to anneal these cases. The 223s that I'm using are as they were as they came off the range. Okay, we do everything like we normally do. First we set the shell holder into the press. Then we begin putting our sizing die into the press. Remember, take the expander ball out. Just give it a few turns until you have about 4 or 5 threads holding it in. And then we're going to start the process of sizing the case. So let's go ahead and get started with our first case. Just like with all brass, you want to inspect it for defects, cracks especially. But if you have a split neck on a 223 case and it only goes down a little bit, that is no big deal at all, because when you're done trimming it, that part of the split case is going to be gone. You want to use a small amount of lubricant, rub between your fingers, take the case. You don't want this thing soaking wet, and the reason is you'll create a phenomenon known as oil dents, and that's usually only with the liquid lubricants. So we put the case into the shell holder and we run it down just like this. As you see, there was no resistance on the case, so we turn the die down until we feel the resistance, and we turn until it takes a little bit of tension, and we'll back off the case. So we'll give it one full turn. And we'll keep doing that until you feel the shoulder of the cartridge case bump into the shoulder area of the die itself, which will not take too long. There, now we're starting. Now if we look at the case, we'll see along here that we're starting to get oil deposits, and we want to wipe those off. And the reason is, that's where your oil dents come from. In fact, I got a couple little dents starting to show up already. You notice I didn't move the die, and the reason is I'm trying to get the excess oil off the shoulder here. Alright, once you feel the resistance, you only want to turn your die about a quarter to half turn, and this will keep you from overstressing your brass. And each time you make an adjustment, you just want to take your finger and wipe off the excess. Wipe it off with your finger because you still have a little bit of lubricant still in your finger. If you wipe it off with the cloth, you'll dry it out. Okay. And that can cause other problems such as a stuck case. There we go. That's how it looks. And you'll start getting like little lines down here, and this will sometimes ruin the case. But if you manage the lubricant properly, you'll be fine. You can just wipe, you can actually go into the press like this and wipe the excess off. We are almost there. As you can see, the neck is getting longer as the shoulder gets pushed back. This is something that's real handy because the 222 Remington brass is a little hard to get, and especially in today's climate where reloading components are becoming a rarity in the gun store. Okay, see how we get that little bump at the bottom as the ram cams over? That's what we want. This is the last bump on the case. What we need to do now with this guy is to trim it, fire form it. But there's another step you need to take too. This neck can thicken up as it goes back, because as we all know, as the case goes down from the mouth of the case to the head, the brass begins to get thicker. I don't think it's too much of a problem going from 223 to 222. If you're going to 223 to 221 fireball, you might have an issue. So you might want to go ahead and get a outside neck turning tool to help you out. Now this is another case that's a little dirty, which is not a big deal. But I'm going to purposely ruin this case. I'm going to show you what oil dents do, especially during case forming. I'm just going to glop on some lubricant. We're still going to do the same process, but we're going to back the die out just like we normally do. But we're not going to wipe off the lubricant as we progress on this. We're going to have a real nice oil dent all around the shoulders, and we'll probably wrinkle the neck itself. This is more of a problem with, here we go. I'm going to take a close-up of this guy. If you look at the neck, is right there where the shoulder was pushed back, and you'll see little dents in here. This will more than likely make this case unserviceable. Those are wrinkles going into the case. It'll make it difficult for seating a bullet, and it will become a weak spot where the case can split. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this die out. I'm going to clean the die with a rag or a patch, what have you, to get all the excess lubricant out, and we're going to go use the Imperial sizing wax. We're going to see the difference in that compared to the liquid case lube 2 from RCBS.